Looking ahead into 2024 and you're thinking about what's on the horizon, and maybe one of the things for you and your family is you've decided 2024 is the year you're buying a house. Today in our video, let's talk about what we need to do or steps we need to take to buy a home in 2024. Here we go. One of the first steps when it comes to thinking about buying a house, because it's a big decision, is an open, honest dialogue with you and your spouse or whoever is part of the financial decision-making in your home, and just talk about your budget. If you haven't sat down and just penciled out, hey, here's how much money we bring in every month. Here's what we're spending currently on our mortgage, or here's what we're spending on rent. All these have an open and honest conversation and dialogue about your budget and what you're spending money on, what you can afford. Once you have that conversation internally as part of your budget, next thing we need to focus on is getting you pre-approved with a lender. Not just pre-qualified, pre-approved. The biggest difference is that pre-approval is the lender saying, hey, we have vetted your finances. They're going to want to see your W-2s, tax returns, and things like that. They're going to want to see bank statements. They're going to want to see check stubs. They're going to want to know all assets and liabilities that you have, all monthly debt. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Then at that point, they're going to give you a pre-approval number. That pre-approval number basically means, hey, you're approved to buy a house up to $400,000 with 10% down or 5% down or whatever it is. Once you have the budget conversation and once we talk with a lender and get you pre-approved, and I have lenders I can recommend to you, there's some down in the description, here's what I would tell you. Use somebody local. Use somebody that your realtor trusts. Use somebody that you know is going to take care of you, and it's going to give you a personal experience. I'm not saying that you just shouldn't go with a big bank. I mean, you totally can. I'm just telling you from my personal experience, having done transactions, it makes a difference when your lender is advocating and fighting for you. Because what we don't want you to do is, like I said, find the perfect house and you not be prepared when it comes time to move and make that offer, because the window is going to open up and you need to be ready. So part of being ready is having those finance conversations before we ever get started, get you pre-approved and going from there. Once you've had the finance conversation, the next thing is to start setting aside the money that you're going to need for when it comes to buying a home. Your down payment needs to be in an account that's accessible, not mattress money, not gun-safe money. Not I think I'm going to get it money. The bank needs to be able to account for where that money is. There's a whole process to that. We need to know where your down payment is, and it needs to come out accordingly. You also are going to have, once it's time to put a contract on a home when we're ready to buy, you're going to have really, it's three things that are most important. Earnest money, option money, inspection money. You're going to have to put down what's called earnest money. Earnest money, I like to tell people it's like an engagement ring. It's you telling that seller, hey, we're serious about buying that home. This is our consideration money to get us under contract. Most of the time in Nevada, that is usually 1% of purchase price. If we're purchasing, let's say, at a $450,000 price point, 1% is $4,500. You're going to have to make a deposit of that money within 2 business days of us being under contract on your home. That money needs to be readily available. It's going to be credited to you at closing as part of closing settlement, but just know that that is going to need to be deposited fairly quickly of us getting you under contract. The other money that needs to be available for you to use, just be mindful of, is inspection money. I always recommend, whether we're buying new construction, resell, or anything in between, that we get the home inspected. It's usually between $300 and $500. Somebody comes out and they tell us all the things that might be wrong with the home, or could be fixed, or need to be fixed, just so that you're aware, because what we don't want is any surprises happening after you close. All that money is going to be set aside, ready to go for when we start shopping for homes. You're pre-approved. You've had a budget conversation. You've set your money aside. You're ready to go. Now is the fun part, and we get to start game planning about what it's going to look like to find you your dream home. During our game plan session, what we're going to do is you and I and your spouse or whoever is part of the decision-making process, we're going to sit down and we're just going to have a conversation, and we're going to talk about, hey, what are you looking for in your next home? Bedrooms, bathrooms, pool, location, school district. Do you want an older home? Do you want to fix it up? There's so many options. We're just going to sit down and have a strategy conversation and say, hey, here's the things that are super important to us, and we're going to rank them 110 or 115. It's like, these are the things we have to have. We'll start checking off the list. From there, we set up our searches. We look at MLS, we look at off-market properties, we look at all the different things until we start refining it down to homes that we think we want to preview. When we get to our preview point, here's what I'm going to ask of you. We're going to probably pick no more than 10 of those properties because here's what happens. We start looking at properties and everything starts running together and you're like, was it that house that had the really nice kitchen? No, it was the one with the pool. Trust me, it all runs together. We're not going to look at a whole lot like max 10. Every time we look at a house, we're going to look at 2 houses and you're going to eliminate one. It's either going to be this house or that house. Then when that house is eliminated, it's gone off our list. Then we come back and we put it against the next house until we find the house that is the ultimate dream perfect home scenario for you. After we find that house, that's when the real fun begins. We start negotiating, writing contracts. Again, that's where that money comes into play. You're going to have that readily available once we get to the point of getting you under contract. From time of contract to close usually takes between 45 and 60 days. Unless we're building new construction, we're playing the long term, and that's a couple of months, or you're buying something that's almost done. Just be mindful. Let's think about timeline. If you're trying to move before the summer, we need to be under contract by March. If you're trying to move by March, we need to be in contract by the end of January. We just need to talk through and think through the timeline and then work backwards. That's what gives us our goals. We know where we want to be, and then we work backwards and we try and get to that point. Then, of course, we get you into your home, you get inspected, you do all your stuff with your lender, get everything fully pre-approved, you sign on the dotted line, and the house is yours. We celebrate that you accomplished a major goal in 2024 of buying a home, and it's going to be fantastic. A lot of people think buying a home is overwhelming. It doesn't have to be. It's a big step. Absolutely, yes, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be crazy stressful. It can be fun. It can be an enjoyable experience. Walking through homes and being prepared and ready, it's a fun experience. Guys, I just want to tell you, it is attainable. I know people are like, oh man, is the market going to crash? We don't know. If you want to buy a home in 2024, it's still going to be a good time to buy. At least in the first part of the year, we're still looking at really great new construction incentives. We're still looking at interest rate buy-downs. We're still looking at sellers giving concessions. It could be a really good time to be a buyer. My goal is to help you in any way I can. Contact information, as always, is going to be right here on the screen. Reach out. I'd love to help you. If buying a home in 2024 is on your wish list, is on your goal list, let's have a conversation and just be honest and see if it can happen, see what's out there, see what's attainable. And if we can make it happen, I want to help you and your family any way I can. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking your time to watch this video. Let's look forward to you buying a home in 2024. I'm excited for you, excited for this journey. Let's get it started. Guys, have a great start to your new year. Let's go.